our first section of analysis is heritage, literacy and art. Here you see God is great, Allahu Akbar, rendered into a dragon motif and a lotus flower alongside it by an artist from Linxia, Hui Autonomous Prefecture, South Gansu, who's also a friend of our project. We have his entire portfolio. He's allowed us to show it to you, and you can look at his work. So, Sini calligraphy, or Sino-Islamic calligraphy, or Sini calligraphy. It's a syncretic approach that aesthetically integrates Islamic art and Chinese calligraphic traditions. Oh, sorry. There you go. Historically, Sino-Muslims employed this kind of calligraphy as a way to show assimilation between Chinese aesthetics and Islamic scriptural art. A remarkable feature of this is the harmonious merger of two apparently incommensurate scripts, Chinese and Arabic scripture. Sini calligraphy incorporates elements of Chinese material culture as well. As the Sini script evolved, Chinese calligraphers in Arabic calligraphers in China would use the brush as well as the pen. And it strengthened the Sino-Muslims community's claim to indigenousness and intangible cultural heritage, which lasts till today. Examples of this can be seen in works by artists such as Mi Guanjiang or Haji Nuruddin, whose work is actually displayed in the Manchester Museum across the road. And the square character format. It's the declaration of faith on the screen on the left with the square character format. And you see the square character format outside many mosques, including the Xi'an Grand Mosque, as you can see on the left of the slide there. On the right, you have what some people call 𝗘𝗃𝗲𝘁, or what we translate as scriptural painting. And that is from the artist who did the dragon motif, and his work is over there. So in both cases, there is a form of what linguistic anthropologists call entextualization. That is to say, discourse features are extracted from one place, Chinese aesthetics, in some cases Chinese philosophy, and inserted into a new context elsewhere for a new audience with a new framing and with a new purpose in mind. This is the square character form again at the Xi'an Great Mosque, one of the halls there. I decided to zoom in. I wanted to ask anybody, does anybody know what it says? Can anybody read it? I'll give you 5 seconds and I'll give you a free copy of my book if you can read it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well it says that. It's very hard to read, by the way. So that's the prayers upon the Prophet. And each one is, the top part's the same, the bottom part is slightly different because it's using a different appellation of the Prophet Muhammad, and it's all across the Xi'an Great Mosque like that. So, intextualization. As I noticed intextualization, I wanted to get to know what it looks like, how people do it. So I asked people, both calligraphy masters and students in the research we both did. And it's very organic, it's very individualized. There's no one set of rules through which Chinese aesthetics and philosophical principles are moved into Islamic art. So here 𝗘𝗃𝗲𝘁 says that he expresses Chinese philosophy and aesthetics. He performatively integrates them into his brushwork. He says we express yin-yang in the work itself. And he talks about the difference between his work and the work of Arabic calligraphy written by the Arabs. Intextualization refers to the process of taking a stretch of language, a unit or principle or some sort of discourse, out of its original setting, recontextualizing it, translating it or adapting it into a new context for a new audience and for a new purpose and framing. It's not extraction with perfect fidelity, it never is. There are changes along the way, but it is performative and syncretic and contains intertextual elements, as we saw in the previous slide. So Sini calligraphy contains a lot of these intextualizing features, which may vary from one person to the next. So it's a very individualized process. The balance between black and white, the weight of the characters, the rhythm of the lines, all of these are talked about by 𝗘𝗃𝗲𝘁 here. Teacher Han says that the farther east you go into the areas from where, quote, the Han culture originated, that you will see more intense forms of intertextualization. Perhaps this also speaks to sinicization and contextualization. That's something to think about. 𝗱𝗀𝘁 is new to the Islamic faith. She's a Han Chinese Muslim. And for her, Sini calligraphy is an ideal way for her to converge to two types of, quote, civilization in her life. And this word came a lot in the data, civilization. We see a lot of references to it. She's able to, through Sini calligraphy, she is able to integrate her Chinese past and present with her Islamic past and future, present and future, without belaboring the distinctions between the two. As a recent Sino-Muslim, though not Hui, she feels she is a carrier of Sino-Muslim heritage and must embody these two things within herself. Sini calligraphy allows her to do it. It is thus a site for simultaneity. And there's a mihrab, meaning the front part of a mosque where the imam stands, of a mosque in the Henan province where the, quote, Han culture originated, according to Teacher Han. Himself is called Teacher Han, by the way. So how do Sini calligraphers do this online? This is one of the things we looked at. They strategically deployed social media and other digital tools, particularly since the pandemic, in order to maintain connection with their students. In this post, Teacher Lee, he presents a calligraphic rendition of a brief poem by the 8th century Islamic theologian 𝗱𝗲𝘁. The original poem mentions, and you have Islam and general wellness. In Arabic, 𝗱𝗲𝘁, it's a difficult word to translate, but it could be translated as general wellness, which Teacher Lee renders into 𝗱𝗲𝘁, teachings. Of course, it can mean religion, but it can mean Taoism and Buddhism if you look it up on Baidu. So when I asked him about that, he said that's the best word to use online. He justified it for the online purpose. And he said people wouldn't notice, people would understand what is being said. He feels he should tread carefully due to the platform's regulations about religious activity, Weixin, WeChat, if you don't know, and religious words that are used on the platforms, particularly political words. Posts are often removed that use those words, or that posts that are deemed to be proselytizing. And the platform's AI keyword censoring system picks up on these, apparently. So he also posted a post alongside this image, pointing once again to the re-rendering of the image from a calligraphic work of art. Intangible cultural heritage gets a green light, but exegesis of it requires a certain kind of, tiptoeing of a red line. And so so here we see another kind of entextualization, which is slightly more strategic for one's audience. And one has to consider one's audience and an AI-based censoring system that is largely keyword-based. So from a linguistic perspective, we're not just looking at the piece of art, we're looking at its exegesis and its translation and the multiple entextualizing features. So exegesis is a fundamental part of Sini calligraphy. Traditionally, this was done in a mosque or perhaps anywhere else. When masters taught how to write sacred art, they also taught its deeper meanings. It comes with it. It's part of the program. But online, people have to do this slightly differently. In only working with the first entextualization, remember it's already entextualized because it's Sini calligraphy, the handcrafted work of art, the analysis is not complete because it must require an exegesis. And so now you have an AI-based censoring system to contend with as part of sensitive word culture.